In the grand world of Pokemon, there are innumerable typings, all matching the nature and essence of the Pokemon itself. At times, it's an intangible aspect where one can look at a design and way of movement and just be able to know what type it is. Whether that be something fast immediately springing to mind electric type, ghoulish or ominous designs being ghost, a brawlic and powerful aura immediately coming to my mind fighting or steel. This representation of the varying elemental types is spot on, and it's one of the many reasons I have loved Pokemon for almost all my 26 years of life. As I sat pondering this, the thought came to my mind. What would it be like if every Bleach captain had a Pokemon type? In Bleach, its power system is varied, and every individual has unique abilities and use of elemental or physical representations of spiritual energy that aren't uniform in the slightest. I think I can speak for all Bleach fans when I say this is something in Bleach that really stands out. God, do I need to mention the chapter sequences titled The Fire. I was reading those chapters while on a walk in the 110-degree Houston summer, and I felt like I was in Sarate feeling the heat of Yamamoto's spiritual pressure. Need I say aura? So really, what would be every Bleach captain's Pokemon type? Thus begins the crossover of my two favorite things. Let's fucking go. So let's get into the criteria. These captains include all the present and past within the manga and anime from start to finish, so we're including Urahara, Isshin, Aizen, and so on up until the end of the story with Rukia as a captain. Every captain can have up to 2 typings, making them a dual typing, but it's not a guarantee. Lastly, if you haven't already, drop a subscription and let's lock in. Starting off the captains is none other than everyone's favorite old man Yamamoto. Yamamoto would undoubtedly be fire typed, and I think that's one of the easiest on this list. Hell, all of Sarate could feel the heat rise during his fight with fake Yuhabak, and all of his abilities are fire themed that also represents his deep passion and unending flame for Soul Society's protection. Honestly, he's like Entei, old, wise, and incredibly powerful. Ryujin Jaka is the oldest and most powerful fire type Zanpakuto, and it has an incredibly high offensive power. He'd definitely be a sweeper on your team. Everyone loves fire types, and he's no exception. The newest Captain Commander, Shunsui Kirikou, my god, can anyone else not wait to see him go absolutely crazy in Part 3? Shunsui has this swagger to him. He's laid back, but when it's time to lock in, he's locked. I spent a lot of time pondering what type he was, but I kept resting on the thought of him being ghost typed. There's an ominous feel to his Shikai's abilities of playing old children's games while phasing between shadows like in Kageoni. It's scary, yet playful like a ghost. With his Bankai Katenki Akotsu Karamatsu Shinju, it sets into motion a 4-part gloomy play that ends in death. Those types have always been my favorite Pokemon typing, so it's all starting to make sense on why I love Shunsui so much. Next we have Soifon, and lately I've seen such an increasing surge of fandom regarding her, and Twitter threads going into how down bad they are, but I digress. Soifon is incredibly fast and high damage, but she's not the most durable comparatively to other captains. Her Shikai's ability that is marked by a butterfly allows her to, if she stings her opponent in the same spot, she assassinates them. Perfectly fitting for the captain of the stealth squad, her Shikai also mirrors the same pattern scheme of a hornet with a stinger, so bug type is an easy answer, but I feel she's more than just a singular Pokemon typing. Due to her speed and one-shot ability, I believe she'd be dual typing bug and electric, similar to Vikavolt. Yoruichi. Yoruichi embodies the required fast nature of the stealth squad, and she's another character that can speed blitz the majority of characters in the story. Her aura and abilities are marked by electricity, from her Ryokin, which translates to Thunder Fist, to her Shunko, where she has the most iconic panel of Bleach women. If you know, you know, and I know you're desperately waiting for it to be animated in Cour 3. Her typing is obviously electric, and I can't think of anyone else better to represent the type in its totality. Gin, upon my reread of the series, has climbed in my rankings of favorite characters. He's incredibly well written, and every panel he's in there's a dark and mysterious tension. Due to this, he immediately strikes me as a dark type, especially with that malevolent smile he always wears. Due to his eyes being closed, you never know his true intention, which leads into his Bankai's true ability of being a poison that breaks down cells that he uses against Aizen in order to attempt his revenge that he's plotted all these years. As a result, Gin is another dual typing, and he is dark and poison type. Captain Rose's abilities stem from music and sound to create illusions to trick and disorient his opponents. The aesthetic of him along with his Zanpakuto are regal in nature and extremely elegant. To me, he stands out more as a fairy typing, and I love this typing for him. However, due to him being visored and holified, he gains an additional typing of dark, which is a pretty badass combination of fairy and dark typing. The first Kenpachi Unohana. One of the previous most ruthless killers and criminals in all of Soul Society, who became a bastion of the 13 Court Guard squads by becoming the healer and captain of the 4th Division. With nearly unrivaled swordsmanship, incredible healing and durability, she's both a wall and source of absolute carnage. Due to her elegance but at the same time her terror, she's a dichotomy of Pokemon typings. She would be fairy and ghost, and it's one of the most unique Pokemon typings there are. Her Pokemon comparison would be Fluttermane, and if you know competitive Pokemon, Fluttermane is one of the most picked and OP Pokemon in the recent World Championship. Unohana would be on my team every single time. Isane, Isane, Isane. She unfortunately has a tough act to follow going right after Unohana. Well, the Bleach wiki describes her as a captain that's tall and she's well endowed, but that doesn't do her enough justice. Well, unfortunately, Isane doesn't have a ton of really crazy moments, and she's one of the only few captains whose Bankais we don't know of. I love Isane and her existence in the story, but she's without a doubt a normal type. But there's nothing wrong with normal types, don't get me wrong. Her fighting style and personality compared to others is, well, normal. Everyone loves a good bowl cut, am I right? Shinji, our visored leader, entered the story upside down and is the embodiment of someone whose abilities disorients the opponents with his Shikai's inverted world. It is his very own trump card and without a doubt one of the most unique abilities in the story. Shinji is without a doubt a psychic type as he manipulates the mind of his opponents, but he's a dual dark type due to him being visored. Psychic and dark is perfectly fitting for our bowl cut boy. Sosuke Aizen, Chair-sama, Mr. Slickback, Mr. Steal Your Girl. Aizen is my favorite antagonist in manga, and he's truly an individual whose role in the story is a driving force for literally everything. From Ichigo's inception to the conclusion of the story, just wow. I remember doing my blind review of the Soul Society arc and the revelation I had that Aizen wasn't dead as he revealed himself to Toshiro and Momo. And my god, I had so many questions regarding how, what, when, why. Aizen's Kyoka Suigetsu is complete hypnosis, and he can manipulate every single sense of anyone who sees his sword. Just an incredibly hacks ability that has him damn near solo all of the Gotei 13, and then you add the Hyogyo on top of that, simply OP. He is a pure psychic type with the highest base stats of all. Aizen's personality is one of trickery, deceit, and manipulation. Everything is always thought through and according to his plan. His psychic typing, I think, should go without question. He is the psychic type, and it seems there's a theme of psychic types in Squad 5. Squad 6's Byakuya was a tough one for me to figure out. With his iconic Bankai of Sinbon-Zakura Kageyoshi, there were a ton of elements all that play within his abilities. With the floral nature of his scatter Sinbon-Zakura, I first thought of his typing being grass related, but I came to the conclusion I hope we can all be happy with. Byakuya is a fairy steel type, and hear me out. The mystical element of his Shikai and Bankai's appearance and aura it emits is fairy without a doubt. The color scheme, the change in energy, the beauty yet horror of what's occurring, it's fairy-like. However, it's paired with the steel resolve and demeanor of the captain, which matches the steel hidden within the petals and endless blades that pierce his foe. For the greater part of the story, there is nothing that can be done that changes his mind and focus. He was a steel wall that had to be broken down by Rukia, and his typing is truly spot on and an indication and vibe of him as a character. Love Aikaba was a bit of a tough one. He has the energy of a ground type, and please tell me you know what I mean, but due to his Shikai's ability that's flame related, I think his first typing being fire is more valid. He doesn't have a Bankai revealed in the story, so it's a bit hard to gauge it further, but due to him being visored, he's a fire and dark type. Sajin Komamura, my god, he had such an amazing fight versus Bambietta. He truly embodies such a diversity within him with his human state versus his wolf state. The first time I saw him with the bucket on his head in giant stature, I truly had no idea what to expect. However, for what I could expect as far as I saw him and with eventually his Bankai, it's that he's a steel type. With his Bankai being Divine Retribution, summoning a giant Bankai of literally living armor, it's an offensive wall that stops at nothing. He's a tank of the Gotei 13 and a damn fine one at that. His personality also matches the steel typing. He has a sturdy resolve and is willing to do anything to protect those he cherishes. With his final stand versus Bimbi and Yuhabak, he gave up everything to avenge the man he owed it all to. He has a resolve of steel, and his Pokemon typing matches everything about him as a character. Iba. Well, I almost forgot he was a captain. He definitely always gave me permanent lieutenant vibes, but I'll try not to be a hater. He was actually pretty interesting in the We Do Not Always Love You light novel, and he's someone who earned his stripes through undying loyalty. He's another captain whose Bankai we haven't seen, but his Shikai is pretty straightforward. Just a cool looking sword with no elemental indication. His typing is without a doubt normal. Squad 8's Lisa is our favorite pervert of the captains. Initially seeing her read X-rated novels during the whole visored training thing, I was like, damn, is this female Kakashi? Well, you know, not quite. However, she is one of my favorite visored. In her spar vs Ichigo, she actually swung her Zanpakuto with each hand respectively, so she's an ambidextrous swordsman, and as well, she's incredibly agile and nimble. Due to that, her first typing is fighting, and given her visored abilities, she's dual type fighting and dark. Haname Tosen has one of the best designs of the Bleach captains, and has one of the first Bankais we see within the story. He lacks sight, but has an intense read on spiritual energy and a strong sense of justice. His Suzumushu Shikai is a fairly painless technique that renders his opponents unconscious and lulls them to a slow and easy death, while his Bankai brings individuals to his world of losing senses. In his Bankai, the only sense the individual maintains is feel and is pure darkness, which is why his first typing is dark. However, his Resurrection form turns him into a bug-like entity, and in addition, his Shikai and Bankai release are bug-related names, which makes his second typing quite easy. Tosen is a dark and bug-type captain. After Tosen's departure, Kensei takes back over as captain, and he has one of the easiest typings out there again. Hell, look at him, he's brolic and huge. Given his Bankai's release Iron Fist, he becomes encased in steel plating and he's incredibly durable. One glance at him and it's clear, even in color scheme with his hair, that he's steel. Due to his visor's state, he gains the typing dark as well, so with him being steel dark type, he's one of the tankiest in terms of Pokemon typings. Hitsugaya is the epitome of how a Pokemon typing with the Bleach captain's ability and style match. White hair, a cool blue color scheme. Hitsugaya is aesthetically and ability-wise ice-natured as his first typing. His Maru is stated to be the strongest ice-based Zanpakuto in Soul Society. His design is cold as ice, and with his Bankai's Daigen Maru, he takes on wings as an ice dragon, giving him his second typing of dragon, making him a primary ice type and secondary dragon typing. Isshin Kurosaki doesn't have an elemental typing similar to his son. Instead, he has the father figure and older brother elemental type that seems to be concerningly on brand with the typing of fire. Whether Ace, Rengoku, or Isshin, they represent the protective flame that warms others around them. I wish so badly we saw Isshin's Bankai. Maybe we'll see it in the fiery pits of the Hell Arc. The 11th squad of Bleach is known to be the most dangerous and fighting-oriented squad in all of the Gotei. To become a captain in the 11th division, you must kill the previous captain, and it's a squad whose entire existence revolves around strength. Kenpachi Tsuraki lives for fighting and challenging his own abilities. He is literally the embodiment of someone who wants the smoke, making his typing immediately fighting. This, again, is a no-brainer. Kensei Urahara, one of the masterminds of the story alongside Aizen, and he's a previous Squad 12 leader. Despite his seemingly good intentions and lightheartedness, beneath the surface is an insurmountable will and a methodicalness only matched by one other in the story. Due to this, his first typing is Psychic, he's a mastermind scientist, and has a Bankai with the ability to restructure anything. Just an incredible power, however, he isn't just a Psychic typing, but a Ghost typing. His ability scheme has a malevolent nature to it, which matches the subtle hints of that throughout the story. Madman Mayuri. When we first encountered him in the story, I wasn't even quite sure he was a fully human Shinigami due to his design, a non-human color scheme, a maniacal voice, and apparent nefarious intent. He is the perfect candidate for a poison bug type. With his Bankai being one of the first we see in the story, it's a giant baby caterpillar that emits a poison. The writing is literally on the wall, Mayuri is a poison bug type. Ukitake is a character whose presence in the story always comes with a calm and clear energy. He's kind of heart and one who puts others before himself. His typing isn't based on ability, as we don't really have a lot of fights for him to begin with, but instead his typing is based on his character's personality and demeanor. He strikes me as a grass fairy type due to his overwhelming sense of peace resonating around him. Coming in as the last captain of the Gotei 13 is my favorite deuteragonist of all time, Rukia Kuchiki. Rukia's Zanpakuto, the Shiro no Yuki, is known to be the most beautiful Zanpakuto in all of the story. Her Bankai has her appearance become entirely white and icy, making her an ice goddess of sorts. All of her abilities relate to freezing and ice, and her abilities, especially her Bankai, are one-shot while not being very durable. This makes her the perfect pure ice type captain and the last one of our list. From the fierce passion of fire, the impregnable resolve of steel, and the chilling aura of ghost, every captain's Zanpakutos embody and express incredibly diverse elemental natures that match their personalities. Kubo was a master of his craft, and every detail almost seems perfect. After all of our captains have the aesthetic and personality of their respective typing. So if the question ever popped into your mind of which captains of Bleach have which Pokemon typings, consider yourself answered. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos with a topic like this, let me know in the comment section below along with what typings I got right and typings I missed. I had so much fun making this video of a crossover of my two favorite series, and I'd love to know which of these typings was your favorite. This has been hiXtrah, and as always, be greedier, and I will catch you all next time.